we had a lovely discussion on venture capital. Before that, we had a little bit of tech discussion. And then after that, we are jumping into Deeptech. And I have got a few bit of different perspective on Deeptech before I hop into the subject. Technology supposed to be an enabler for any kind of business. Then we had the internet, which actually disrupted the entire market. Eventually, internet became big. People started communicating, collaborating. All of a sudden, we had social media. AI used to be there, and suddenly we saw a boom of artificial intelligence that entered through game development. I'm not sure how many of you know that. It actually started from Atari, the early companies. And then eventually we saw generative AI. We started watching something which is completely different from Web 2.0, Web to Web 3.0, eventually into blockchain. We had digital currency, we have crypto money, we have definitely now the Deeptech, cybersecurity, a lot of different kind of disruption. Now this Deeptech, it is said that it is going to disrupt the market as well as disrupting the market. On that same note, I think I have got within my panel on digital twin, if I'm not wrong. I've got an AI woman, if I'm not wrong. I have got someone from edtech, if I'm not wrong. And I have got Bilal, who is going to share his inputs on Deeptech as well. Yeah. Before I go and blast with multiple questions, I would love you guys to please self-introduce yourself and we can go into the flow. Yeah. But I'll be asking you guys to please stick to maximum 1 minute for a session. I know you have a long profile, but please.
Yeah, my name is Mohammed Bilal. I'm from Pakistan. I'm a postgraduate in artificial intelligence and machine learning from University of Texas, Austin. Author of 2 books internationally published, founder of an edtech startup over there, producing air purification as a hardware and software builder as well. That's one part of Deeptech over here. Thank you.
Cool. Sweet.
So hi, my name is Avi, and I have been a Deeptech futurist for the last 10 years. I started my career working with Google, and at that point of time, Deeptech futurist was not really a job. Everybody would ask me, is this like a real job or not? So basically, I'm responsible for is predicting how technology is going to change the world 20 to 30 years later. And work with Fortune 500 companies are some of my customers. I work with them to ensure that the impact, they're ready for the impact and they're leading the growth. I also happen to run my own Deeptech venture, and it's probably in a scale-up stage right now. And we have presence in Australia, Singapore, India, and Middle East. Thank you.
Lovely. Wow.
Once again, very good afternoon to all of you. And my name is Lalita Ramamurthy. I'm from Michigan, USA. And I'm the CEO of a company which incorporates knowledge in healthcare to optimize and to speculate and give personalized medicine and precision medicine. Professionally, I'm also a health coach and a registered dietitian, and that precisely adds the value in terms of their routine.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Surya. So today I would like to give a small just about from rejection to inspiration. A student turned speaker in the same university which said no. So once upon a time I was rejected, the BBA student for SP Jain, sir. Now I am in this podium.
Oh my God.
So today on the same university has invited me as a speaker to talk about edtech, how it influences with Deeptech. And that's my story.
Super. My first question goes with Bilal. Bilal, I have seen your profile, at least. I've done tangible work on AI. From a general perspective, what is AI? How do you define AI? What is the difference between AI and machine learning?
Okay, so like the internet is bundled with a lot of different concepts and definitions and so on and so forth. So what I say the definition works is understood by many. So generally you can make sense of a class 5-year-old can make sense out of it. So that's what the definition goes by. So I'm just going to start, just make it short, machine learning and AI, both things are right in conjunction to each other. So what's the difference? Okay. So in respect to what machine learning is, I'll take an example. You have the word computer. It got invented from the word compute. And if you remember, I mean, if you look at history, 1970s, people used to put in a job for we need computers. They weren't machines, they were humans. And they were just accountants who used to do the calculations and everything. And that is at the core of what a computer is all about. So when a person does, let's suppose, an analysis of the sales for a selling shop, and he says that there is a hike in sales in June and a drop in December. That means in summer the sales go high, but in winter it goes down. Now when a person does it, he's an analyst. But when the computer does it, it's called a machine learning algorithm. Okay, it's as simple as that. Now what is an AI? Now the same analysis is given to another social media analyst or a business analyst, and he says our sales drop down in the winter, so we should decrease our budget from the summer session and put it in the winter, focus it on the winter session because we need to get the winter going on. So now there's an analysis on the result and he's given a decision on it. Okay, that's a business analyst. But when the computer does it, we call it an AI. Okay, so that's the basic differences between both.
Easy, crisp, sweet. Thank you so much. A question to the gentleman. Twins. Another baby from
same mother or different baby from other mother is a baby of a machine.
machines are giving birth. What the hell is this?
So basically, twins are amalgamation of a lot of technologies. They stand on the crosshairs of artificial intelligence is one of the small components of it. There's a lot of component of IoT out there. There's some 3D printing component out there. To your 5G. So this belongs to a category of Industry 5.0. So what necessarily if a solution is there, a problem should exist. So the problem really is in future our co-workers will not just be people. The increasing now this projector which has just showcased this photograph here is also a co-worker to us. It's working along with us to send the message across. In future, there will be many more IoT devices, robots, machines that will be working alongside. And now I can always ask you, we have been doing moderation for 3 panels at least that I have seen. Are you feeling tired or not? Are you comfortable or not?
Totally comfortable. Don't worry. I am not sleeping for 3 nights. That's completely fine.
Super.
Unlike machines.
So we can't ask the same question to this projector. So what if it breaks down this very next second? So what we essentially do is we take any robot, IoT device and create a virtual replica of it, and we can see what's going on inside and we can have a conversation with it. So it's a twin of the physical product. So that is what a digital twin is.
Super. Now, hopping to our madam. When we talk about AI, we got a little bit of understanding what is AI. We understood what is twin. Then eventually, we want to mix that in business. Probably, we will see eventually businesses done by maybe Android, or maybe a smart device. We don't have the name yet. Maybe a meta-human, maybe the face of the company. As a businesswoman on AI, what is the exact future you see that is coming? Probably going to disrupt the market. Maybe on the line of your business, you can share with us.
Absolutely. And I'm glad I'm sitting next to Ali because the whole aspect of digital twin is going to be picturized in the healthcare field as far as our project is concerned. A company is called Ikigai, where Ikigai is the Japanese philosophy of happiness and worth. We've incorporated health into that and we've added that to the Ikigai. So that's our company. And in answering your question as to how AI can disrupt the whole sector of healthcare, we were actually planning to launch this first in India. We've started our MVP and we've successfully actually acquired our first customer, I must say, and that was a big milestone for us. And in the process, what we see is that in the healthcare in India still is deeply deficient in the patient and doctor population. At that point, if AI can be a disruptor to enable so many avenues from products to services to knowledge enabled, That's where you would really see the disruption. And most certainly, if you ask me if AI is going to actually replace a physician, it could be so if you're not adopting that particular aspect of technology. And the losers are the losers at that point. They could be winners in other aspects, but it's fast moving, and in a place like India, where you see the leapfrog effect with just the UPI market or even the cell phone market, healthcare is going to be that disrupted with AI coming forward.
Super. Before I hop into Surya, I would love to share you something which is probably thousands of years old back technology. You heard it right. Thousands of years old technology. If you look at Mahabharata, I'm not sure if you have heard about Indian epic Mahabharata. There is a character called Barbaric. Barbaric had a power. If he wished, he can actually detect whom to shoot, and he can practically define where that arrow will go. And if that arrow hits, there is no way you can be alive. Right? Lord Krishna got to know that this is the power of Barbaric. And he usually fights the war where you are a little bit of down, like you are not that powerful. Okay? You will fight for that. You will fight for people who are looking for justice. But if in that case it happens by asking questions, Krishna understood that this is not a normal human being. It is actually taking input. Depending on its input, it is understanding whether there is a guy who is poor or not poor. If that's poor, you will fight for him. So in that world, Pandavas and Kauravas, when they start fighting, if Pandava got a little bit of down, we will fight for Pandava. If Kauravas got a little bit of down, we will fight for Kauravas. Eventually, he will wipe out the entire fighting and the human being. So he asked him to chop off his head and give it to him. Barbaric, without thinking, did that. He kept it on the top of Kurukshetra. And eventually, we got a demigod called Khatu. But when you look at that structure, it has a tripod. It can hover, fly, record, detect, understand, get things, and then put it in that particular head. Myth, epic, we don't know. But when I'm going to Surya, he is actually going to bring something interesting from very old, I would say, Bharatiya culture, mixing with a lot of other different culture and trying to teach kids about mixing the root with technology. Would love to understand, Surya, what you do and why you choose this path.
So initially, I would like to say how the edtech needs to intervene with the Deeptech, because here we are seeing on a daily basis we need a different kinds of skills. We need a highly collaborative work to be done. That can be only possible with an AI and a machine learning simultaneously. So what the part of the edtech like the company is doing is we have integrated AI with career counseling. So by this we are able to know what paths the student would love to take. Because every person today, you might be here as an engineer or a doctor, maybe a lawyer, but right now there are many fields to explore and there are shortage of people. When you're capable of doing something, we give the right guidance and right career preparation for the student. And especially till the student goes to the career level, before that, there's something they need to know about the education methodology they need to follow. So I own an education institution back in India called Alani. So here, what I have done is I have introduced a new concept called Kaizen integrated with the Anvikshi. Kaizen is a popular term, Japanese term, and Anvikshi is a term taken from Chanakya, where the modern culture integrates with the ancient methodology. What will happen? We can take the best of the root level learning and give back to the world. And edtech, it doesn't matter like how far, when Deeptech is growing, like when surgeon twins or like the problem with education is there are many education institutions, they stay in the same level teaching the traditional methods, and maybe they might have changes. But for a certain level of education basis, like we can take our, not just India, but world to a different new level. Because right now what are we learning is a kind of a programmed methodology of an education system. So what I think is there need to be a change, because we have to give paths for the new waters, new intelligence, and for new generations. So this is how the combination of the edtech and the deeptech should work for.
Absolutely amazing.
If you look at these kind of models, I don't need much. I think pretty audible. Yeah, pretty audible. Yeah. Okay. So if we look at the model of edtech, there are methods, there are algorithms which is there to help any kind of startup who are actually trying to build this kind of model. On a technical level, because I can dare to ask you this question. On a technical level, what are the key things as an entrepreneur someone should look at before hiring a tech team who can build this product? I'll tell you the reason why I'm asking you this question. Maximum times when a startup try to outsource that, they lack how to get a right kind of outsourcing company. So if you can give a little bit of. Am I audible in the back?
I think my voice is quite audible as well, so that's fine. So, first of all, let's just understand the very basics of why do we need technology at these. So, the problem is when I look at other businesses, not just startups and other businesses, 80% of their budget is somehow being spent on technology. Okay, and 20% is actually the business in itself. Now, when you talk to the people, they come up with their problems. This happened, that happened. Now, they're not business people anymore. They're trying to become tech people, but they're not supposed to be that. Okay. Now, that is highly inefficient. That's not what the purpose of technology was. Technology should be 20%. That's the budget of technology, what it should be.
And here?
I mean, you're loud enough, but continuing question.
Okay, so the ideal situation would be that 20% is the budget for technology, not 80%. And if I'm a business guy, I'm fundraising, I'm the marketing head, I mean, technology should automate my work. You know, when there was a talk about VCs, you know, they said fund managers, circle the word manager, technology, okay, it's a manager and nothing else. It should just manage what you delegate. So you do not allow technology to dictate you rather than you dictate technology to what you do. So now the problem over here is some people, you know, majority of people go out of the box solutions, and they probably integrate an ERP or something like that. So now they've got another issue coming up. That's where the budget goes at. So what's happening is what their business is changing in accordance to how the technology is dictated. Rather than that, they should understand that they don't need something so much big or something so much fancy. It's there to simplify manage stuff. So they need something that is able to go in accordance to how they go about. Now, coming up to the question, because the basis needed to be right over there. When you're trying to find or trying to hire somebody, what are the technology aspects that you want to look at? Okay. So the first one is, this is the keyword for everything. If somebody is going serverless, okay, that's the keyword, you can Google it up, it's just a jargon, another jargon. If they have serverless, that means they're using cloud, okay? You need to go with that term, okay, when you're going with the technology aspect. Because serverless means pay as you go, okay? Pay as much compute you are using rather than it's like fixed server costs, okay? So if a tech team is not using serverless technology or serverless services, okay, that's something I personally would not go off. In some cases, it might work that you do not need serverless. It doesn't mean that everything is right over there. I just want to add a very small piece of excerpt over here. With understanding technology and even deep tech, technology and the deeper aspect would be deep tech. There was an experiment, I would say. Somebody put an elephant in a tent. That's funny. Elephant in a tent, and put in a couple of blind guys in it. And then they told them, okay, you need to tell us how does the elephant look like? Okay, someone touched the nose, someone touched the ears, someone touched the legs. So the ones who touched the nose, they said the elephant looks like a pipe. Okay, someone who touched the ears, they said elephants look like carpets. Okay, the one who touched the feet, they said the legs, elephants look like pillars. Okay, so if you can just observe over here that everybody has their own perspective. You have to take and understand things on a whole to understand how the elephant looks like. In which, in this case, elephant is a technology. Okay, so I hope that answers quite much of the need.
Of course, definitely.
So, question to Lalita. When we look at any business, we learned, understood how we can probably cross-check and verify hire. What was your first hire? Was it a CTO, or you got your partner, right kind of partner, and then you chose to pick some amount of people as coders, or you took first the software analyst and designers?
Well, that brings us to the evolution of our company. So being a health coach and registered dietitian, I've always been very impressed with this whole jargon of technology and never enough educated about technology. So that kind of was my downside. And I kind of wanted to team up with somebody who was pretty proficient in that space. And so to answer your question, the first person that I did join hands with was the co-founder, is the CTO and the CEO. Where at what point, this was the peak of COVID, where we really were struggling to correlate some of the health aspects of how we can actually contain the epidemic or the pandemic, which became eventually a pandemic. And that's really where we were looking at how we can bring multiple aspects of health under one platform. That's precisely what Ikigai is all about, where you're bringing in contextual information, you're bringing in a lot of the medical information, that incorporated with a lot of the demographics, emotional intelligence, and a lot of the mental well-being too. All that correlated and put together, now computed with AI and ML, which brings in more accuracy. With health, there's no playing. You want to have close to 100% accuracy. And the more you add, and that's the UBS where we're working on, where the more you add the accuracy, the more precise and the more personalized that that application for your patient or for the client is. So the plumbing that we're working on is what's called the knowledge graph. If you look at the Facebook you have the Facebook profile, or if you have the Google on the right side, there's something called the knowledge graph, which gives you information about it. And these are things that I have learned as jargon words. For a health coach, these are all like foreign words, but I think that really encompassed so beautifully, and the relationship that we've come in to cohesively agree. Where if it was just a CTO, he would build a model as an engineer. But if it is a health coach, she would have the empathy and know what the journey of a doctor is, and know what the journey of a patient is. And that's really where we are today.
Super. Okay. Advice. If I'm not wrong, if you look at digital twin, maybe you call it as avatar. This panel can have a digital presence in multiverse. Same, similar, with expression. Very soon, the world will actually see those kind of disruptions in a lot of different places. South Korea adopted it. If you look at Korean structure, they have their own avatar who are talking with each other, communicating. How do you see business growth in next 2 years regarding this?
So what you are essentially referring to here, Raji, is the consumer metaverse side of the things. In my humble opinion, consumer metaverse is going to take a lot of time to actually take off. What the use of digital twins really today, right now, is where not with humans, but where there's a lot of machinery to monitor. So let me give you an example. So you're wearing your glasses right here, and imagine yourself as the CEO, and all your manufacturing plants come in front of you, right? You touch one particular plant, a 3D model of it comes in front of you. This is not just a virtual replica, it's a live replica. So if a machine is on in the real plant, it will hear all your energy, how you're
We're talking mixed real.
so basic, not mixed basically. It is about taking an information through sensors, cameras, and lot of things and replicating it in a virtual world. Mixed reality can be an output of that. I think industrial metaverse, enterprise metaverse is going to take off immediately. By 25, 26, we'll be seeing a lot of traction there. Because humans for the last 20,000 years have been moving from rectangular pieces of paper to rectangular screens. It's time that these things come out of the rectangular screens to our physical reality. When you're out with your friends in a cafe, you are in the physical world. When you're working on your Excel sheet on your laptop, you're in the digital world. The future is going to be a mix of both. It's going to be a digital world, and the lines are going to get blurry. So it's time that all of those things come out in our physical space. So that is where I see how this thing will go out.
Super. I'll not take a lot of time. Coming from tech background, I can probably take this panel for the next 3-4 hours. But for the sake of time, probably I'll ask the last question to Sri. You have been hearing probably the fellow panelists. 2 decades, they're talking tech stuff. Now, as an entrepreneur, when you are adapting technology, then giving the same to the kids, that was your main focus. How do you teach a kid what to adapt, how to adapt? I'll tell you the reason why I'm asking you this question. Internet is for information. How you can extract becomes knowledge. From that knowledge, how you can understand and then get it inside becomes your license. What is your process? How do you?
So here, I'll try to make it a bit interactive.
Sure.
So, for example, when I teach the child like how to do, what to do, and everything, I ask them think about some alternatives when you choose the product or choose the food or anything. Let us stick to the basic level. What happens when you see an apple as a child?
I just see the smile. That's it. How do you smile?
Apple.
Sir,
Apple fruit.
how do I see?
If you check out an apple, how would you perceive in your brain?
Colors?
Colors. So, because I'm a foodie, I feel like to eat. So, there's my friend who's like, she won't, if she checks out an apple, she likes to paint it out. So, every child has their own perspective. So, what I do is, I'll ask, like, what are you perceiving out of it? Because, as your friend said, when you take the technology, when they help the elephants like legs, they felt it as something like a wall, and when they felt the ears, they felt it like a carpet. So when we actually thinking about adapting, we have to ask them how they are adapted to the world. So the first thing what happens is like when while teaching, we should understand their adaptability before teaching anything. Then only we can understand them how and where they can be adaptable, what they can do with it, and perceiving the right information. Because the same information can be miscommunicated in multiple ways, and that's more often happens in education system. Like how many people we've been in the same class. So, for example, I would like to ask you a question. So, when a teacher says this, asks you the same question, sometimes the question might be angry, and sometimes the same question, the teacher might be angry, but might be asking in a very simple way. So, what is your adapting through that?
So the thing is, actually, I wanted to ask you a question regarding this too. Because I studied in school in an Indian curriculum.
Okay.
When I went to study, when I studied my university, I was in a French university.
Uh-huh.
And the difference in the curriculum was so perceive something.
Yes.
It was just told to us, this is XYZ, you take it as XYZ and no questions asked.
Yes.
So this is a very welcome change. If someone asks me what I perceive out of a product I'm seeing,
Yes.
it shows my level of interest or lack of interest towards the product.
Got it.
That's
Now,
what I'm getting.
now I think Arjun. Now this is where when the edtech is intervening with the Deeptech, what's happening? The AI and the machine learning are understanding the perspective of the child. Leave it about an adult, but a child has a lot of innovative thoughts. When you have a child, you can actually make out designs from the cloud. That's how an art has been started ages ago, right? So it's all about how. It's all about the plan behind what you want to make the child learn. Then the innovation starts, and then the process for the change will start. And thank you for that.
You want to add something?
So, I mean, just also in the interest of topic, I wanted to share an excerpt since you're saying that this was one of the last questions. So, when we hear deep tech, we usually think that there is tech and there's a lot of tech. There's a lot of tech to it's deep tech. But rather, just AI can be shallow tech, AI can be deep tech, it can be low tech, it can be high tech. There are a lot of variations out there. Something becomes deep tech only if the applications of that technology are unknown for the next 5 to 6 years. It's still in the R&D phase, and we don't know what the market will be like in 100% clarity. Right now, even in terms of the technology development, we don't have a clear roadmap. That you get an API from this, you code in this language, and you can put the product together. So there's a lot of R&D and gestation period involved there. So an AI app, which I can use to recognize what a plant species is, can essentially be done in a month, arguably. Whereas the use of AI in something else, like detection of cancerous cells, might take 5 to 6 years of R&D, and there cannot be a clear-cut demarcation. So that is exactly when our technology becomes deep tech. And one of the major issues that usually happens in this is availability of capital out there. Because investors' mindset, they have seen all the e-commerce companies, apps, and these platforms, and they don't want to gestate a company for 10, 15 years. They don't want to fund it. So it's easier for scientists to learn business than businessmen to learn the science part.
Wow,
So that's what it's
brilliant
about.
statement.
Now India has new education policy.
Yes.
Is taking care of that. What do you have done?
Exactly.
You're talking about an EB, sir.
Yeah. As far as India is concerned, the new education policy has come up, which is in place and it is going to be effective from 1st April 2024 onwards, which talks more about creativity and interest of the student. Not just by telling them that this is what you have to read and this is what it is.
Exactly.
It's not at all a program learning.
It's a very welcome change.
Yes, please.
As much as we all want to embrace AI, Gen AI is in the process of hallucination today, and I must say that AI is not the magic pill for all. Especially in the medical field, we do need to ensure that the expertise and the human touch is very critical, and at the point where you bring in AI should be a very eco-friendly and a holistic way of how this approach happens. And if you let Gen AI overpower at some point, then the destruction is a factor. So that's where you bring in the people's empathy and the Gen AI combination. So there has to be a lot of optimization of the Gen AI to bring in the precise and the personalized care that you can bring in healthcare.
Lovely. I would love to conclude. No, it's fine. It's completely fine. Humankind, they have tendency to express and share. That's how it should be. To be very honest, coming down from a tech background, running technology companies for last over 2 decades, till date I feel human touch cannot be replaced. The way you hug someone, the way you look at someone, you smile, your aroma, your own aura cannot be done at this moment digitally yet. and whoever you can think of, to be very honest, men have a different kind of understanding of human being. If you look at women, they give birth to a child. When they cry, they know what he or she needs. Man cannot do that. That's how Supreme Lord created us. You call it machine learning or human learning, or your muscle learning or your own intelligence level. That's how it has been designed and defined. And the reason I'm taking this note, because I want to open this for the next panel, which is full of women panel. And with this note, I'll be ending this session without taking any question. I'm so sorry for this. Thank you so much for being such a humble and amazing audience.